Hey there, Blixray here. If you ever need a game that involves Kratos getting destroyed by a cat, bam, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. It's ridiculous. Okay, crossover fighting games are all a little bit ridiculous in their own way, but Smash Brothers is full of characters that just seem to click with each other. Sure, Snake may be fighting Diddy Kong, but this feels better than this. Now Smash Ultimate, that's a masterpiece. Everyone is here that was in all the previous games, even the ones that were cut from the other Smash games. Smash has the largest character roster, and if a game has a character in Smash, that game has a bigger part in video game history. My favorite games of all time were actually introduced to me through Smash. Now obviously, the characters are the magic of the game, so that's why every new entry is hyped up, because we have so many newcomers. Who's the next lucky one on the roster? Who's gonna join the Smash family? Aw man, we got a Venus Flytrap. Now after all the main fighters are released, we get some fighters bundled in a Fighters Pass that you could buy for, oh dang, it's 25 bucks. I'm just gonna sell my left kidney. The first Fighters Pass for Smash Ultimate was certainly exciting. We got 5 fresh new characters bundled into this crazy game. We got Joker from Persona 5. Yes! We got the hero from Dragon Quest. Yes! We got Banjo and Kazooie from, well, Banjo and Kazooie. Yes! We got Terry from Fatal Fury. Yes! And Violet from Fire Emblem Three Houses. Dang it! The Fighters Pass started off very strong, and ended off with another Fire Emblem character. Fire Emblem isn't a bad game like I said in my last video, it just has too many reps in Smash. The words from, fire, and emblem will be the last things I hear before I die. However, rumor has it that there's going to be another Fighters Pass with 6 new characters. I don't have any kidneys to sell. I'll start selling my bones. Why not? I have 206 of them. Sakurai himself seems to acknowledge that there are too many sword fighters and too many Fire Emblem characters. In the reveal trailer of Violet, Sothis literally says,
"See? Too many swordsmen, are there? And you wield the sword as well?"
And although he does not usually get the final decision of who's gonna make the cut, he at least wants to put a halt to the sword fighters. The reason I'm making this video is because I want to discuss who I think would be cool to add into Smash while making it a possibility. There are a lot more possibilities to who could get into Smash because Smash now embraces third-party characters. A lot of the new characters are not actually from Nintendo. Now I have to be honest, while I would love popular characters like Waluigi to be in Smash, I just don't think that's possible because he already has assets in Smash. Look, he's an assist trophy. It's not an impossibility, I'm not saying that. Sakurai is an absolute miracle worker and he listens to the fans of his games. Unfortunately, I wouldn't get my hopes up too high about those, so this list will be mainly focusing on the characters and their games. It would take too long to create movesets and too long to explain them, and I know most of you have the attention span of a dog, so I won't bore you with too many details. You could do that in your own time if you want. Also, minor spoilers for all the games and series, which are all at least 3 years old, so whatever. Without further ado, here are the 6 new characters I will want for Smash Ultimate. And by the way, yes, I know there are rumors that the next representative is going to be from ARMS, but I don't care. Number 1, Sora from Kingdom Hearts. Kingdom Hearts is a Disney and Square Enix crossover game. Now, this didn't seem like the type of game that I'd be immersed in, but seeing as Sora made the list, I liked it. A lot. Sora is a very popular character for a Smash DLC character. Look, there's even a list for the top picks of each of the regions. Sora dominates nearly all of them. So this should be a no-brainer for Sakurai if he could possibly get the rights from Disney, that is. His moveset will be tricky, because throughout his 5 games, he has a lot of moves. But that could also be a bright side, because he has a lot of material to go off of. And to go off a little tangent here, I really like most of the characters that are chosen for the American portion of the list. I discuss a lot of them later in the video as well. Number 2, Crash Bandicoot from Crash Bandicoot and the rest of the series. Crash Bandicoot is a platforming franchise and was a PlayStation exclusive. After putting Banjo-Kazooie into the roster, my mind immediately jumped to this character next. I feel that he would be a very interesting character, especially given the goofy nature of his games. I want him in Smash for more reasons than just because of his goofy character design and fun gameplay. The series also means a ton to me because it is the first series of games I played on a PlayStation console, which I think is pretty neat. With his game's wacky physics and cartoony nature, his attacks will be a load of fun to watch being performed, and there are also a lot of possibility as to what he could do with his body. His moveset will mainly be bounces, spin attacks, punches and kicks, you know, the basic stuff you see him do in his games. And I think Crash would be an absolutely amazing addition to the roster. Number 3, Shantae from the Shantae games. The Shantae franchise is a series of platforming games developed for Nintendo consoles by WayForward Technologies, eventually coming to other platforms, and oh boy, this is such a great game. Shantae's attacks are with her hair, but she can also transform by doing belly dances. I'm serious. Which allow her to turn into animals and other things that give her new abilities. I think it would be very interesting to see her moveset in Smash. Now, I'm not entirely sure how these transformation dances would work, because they would take up way too much time, and freezing time isn't feasible either, because Smash Ultimate is such a fast-paced fighting game. Shantae's design is amazing as well. The purple and red really work together to make such a great looking character. Half Genie Hero had a blue outfit, which I didn't like as much, and Risky's Revenge has this. I could see Sakurai look at this disapprovingly. WayForward also put their own ideas for things like costumes. Shantae also happens to be a spear in Smash Ultimate, which I think is pretty cool, and it could also be a big possibility for a series representative. She is the third most wanted DLC character in America, and I'm on Team Shantae. Number 4, The Kid from Bastion. Bastion is an action RPG game about a kid that is literally known as the Kid. He travels through floating environments because of Calamity, an event that blew Caelondia to floating pieces. The Kid collects cores that once powered Caelondia and goes to the Bastion, where the cores are able to be powered up and create structures and landmasses. I really like the gameplay of this, and the art of this game is amazing as well. While this may not be a very popular choice for fighters in Smash, I still think he would be a very cool addition to the roster. His moveset would mainly consist of the weapons that he carries throughout his travels. Bastion seems like a weird choice given all the other games out there, but this is such a good game. I played on mobile, and I think it would be cool if the series got more recognition. Smash seems a little big, so I'm not counting on a representative being in yet, but, you know, fingers crossed. Number 5, Tails from the Sonic the Hedgehog series. Otherwise known as Miles, I guess. Tails first appeared in Sonic 2 as a partner that flies along Sonic and sometimes helps him out while he sprints off to be Eggman. Tails used to be made fun of because of his mutation, his twin tails, but Sonic taught him to fly with them, and Tails hugely respects him for that. It feels a little empty to just have Sonic in Smash and not Tails as a playable character. I just think that tail-based moveset would be pretty cool, seeing as Sonic has so many freaking moves that involve balls. Are you trying to say something? Fine, I think Tails should have some similarities to Sonic, given that Tails looks up to him so much and also shares similar moves. But he better not be an Echo Fighter, and also shouldn't have as many balls attacks. And finally, at number 6, we have the main character, or the Knight, from Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight is one of my favorite games of all time. It is a Metroidvania game, a platformer where you go around and unlock other abilities to achieve your goals. He starts off with this lance, also known as the Nail, which is technically not a sword, and gets more power-ups down the road. Hollow Knight is absolutely gorgeous, and the main character has abilities that will look so cool in Smash. Look at this! Wouldn't this be a cool moveset? I would love to see him the most in Smash out of pretty much all of the other games on this list. Except maybe Shantae, I guess. Now, this is not the definitive list for the roster, so don't be mad if the character you have in mind isn't on this list. This is just my opinion on who I think would be really cool to see in Smash. Of course, most of these characters on the roster aren't too likely, but they are likely enough, I guess. If any one of these characters come to Smash, I am grateful. Honestly, I'm only human, and my words probably don't matter in the long run. Who's chosen is chosen, and there's nothing I can do to change anything. No doubt, if it could be any character, I'd pick a lot of other characters, but they don't seem as possible, because they aren't the biggest fighters and don't have a lot of things to base their moveset off of. Well, one could argue that they put Isabelle, who probably never heard a mosquito, in the same game as Ridley, whose canonical height would probably consume the entire stage. Well, like it or not, those are my picks. I really hope some of them will get in, but most of all, The Knight from Hollow Knight and Shantae, which are from my personal favorite games of all time. Now, I don't really know who's going to be in, so I'm just going to kick back and let Sakurai work some magic. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm in the middle of a Parappa the Rapper game.
I forgot to close the door. You gotta close the door.
Imagine Parappa the Rapper in a fighting game. PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. What are you doing?